Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Stanley number RDF179. This is a hinge, and this is what this hinge looks like. I gotta tell you, I'm always happy with Stanley hinges, the quality, the operation, the smooth operation. Even on a plain bearing hinge like this, it works smoothly. I like their finish. I like their tolerances. I like everything about it, about a Stanley hinge. The telltale sign is that they do a reasonably good job inside the crotch of the hinge between the leaf and the barrel. Not every man, I mean, this is, I've seen better from Stanley, and this is just a residential type caliber hinge. But I love it. I love this quality from Stanley. The satin nickel is very good. Let's go over it. The RDF, that means we're going to be getting ourselves a, not in any particular order, but a steel-based hinge that's going to give you a radiused corner, quarter-inch radiused corner, with a template hole pattern, meaning standardized pattern for a 4-inch hinge, 130 thousandths of an inch leaf thickness, which is considered commercial grade, or standard duty commercial or heavy duty residential. If you have a wood door, wood frame on the front of your home, 1 3/4 inch thick, this is very likely going to be the proper hinge for you. This is a full mortise hinge. You can see from the swag on the hinge leaves there, the swag, right here where it's bent like this, that's the swag, that when the leaves are brought parallel, they're meant to be mortised flush to the edge of the door and frame so that you can maintain that common, typical small 1/8 of an inch gap between the door and frame. Why radiused corners? Well, when the manufacturer of the door and frame are making the door and frame, routing it for the hardware, they've got that router either by hand, but most likely an automated sort of process. They've got a 1/2 inch diameter bit, so when they hit that work with the bit, it'll leave a 1/4 inch radius when you've not gone back and squared out the corners. You could easily buy a square corner hinge, I suppose, and square out the corners of the door, the wood door and wood frame, with a hammer and chisel. But a lot of homeowners, A, don't want to do that, B, don't know that it can be done, C, see exactly what they see and are matching that. And anything that does not visually match is therefore incorrect, and certainly that's true. Radiused corners are so common, and it's because of volume. You can produce a lot of doors and frames when you're not going back to square out the corners. Let's see here now. 130 thousandths is the thickness of the leaf when it's a standard weight hinge, and this is a 5-knuckle hinge. It's plain bearing, meaning that there are no ball bearing packets, but plain bearing is very common for residential type applications. There is a link below this video to a document called Template that will allow you to review all of the dimensional properties of the hinge itself, along with the location of the screw holes. So if you're unsure, and by the way, screws are included in a complimentary finish, if you're unsure of what you're doing, the important part of the template is if you're unsure if these hole locations are going to match, review the template. No reason to be surprised when you get the hinge, because if it is a residential application, it's very likely that you'll have holes in different locations, and all is not lost. I've certainly worked on situations like that where I've got a different hole pattern, and you can drill the hinge screws out, you can insert dowels, glue them in, tap them down. You can go back and reroute if you want to make it all clean. Re-drill. A VIX bit, VIX, is a great tool for doing that because it will give you the proper size. Pre-drilled hole, when you've got your hinge up there and you use the hinge as a guide for the VIX bit. It's real nice. That template is going to get you a lot of different hinge types from Stanley. Suffice it to say that there are just variations on base material, bearing type, plain bearing, concealed bearing, ball bearing, base material, brass, bronze, stainless, or ferrous based, different sizes of their hinges, wide throw, and then a narrow hinge as well. So that document's very handy. This is in our website in lots of different finishes, indeed. All of the common finishes, certainly, your brasses, your bronze, your chromes, your nickel, prime coat, antique bronze, oxidized, Antique nickel is there as well. Being Stanley, they can entertain pretty much any finish that you'd like to do on a special order basis. Okay, nice quality hinge. I would not hesitate to use Stanley, and I will specify Stanley when I'm doing a job personally, and I really want the hinges to look as good as the $5,000 of exit devices on the door. Another nice thing I like about Stanley is they generally include cardboard shims. Perforated pieces of cardboard that you can simply use to help shim the door so that it works well in the opening. You might have to take that door and tip it in or out a little bit, or move it, down or up a little bit. And the paper and the cardboard shims are there for you to loosen the hinge and slide them in between and modify that, because you might be contending with maybe a frame that's not square, or jambs that are kicked in or out, or towed in and out. Nice that you get a little piece of shims. What some guys will do is, literally, when they don't get shims, they'll tear the top of the cardboard box off and use that. But frankly, this material is a bit too thick to act as a shim. Finally, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Stanley products that we sell, but a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. If you have any questions on the Stanley RDF179 4x4 and a US 15, which is a satin nickel finish, and these are sold as each, by the way. If you need 2, order 2. If you need 3, order 3. 4, order 4. Just because they happen to put 3 in a box doesn't mean that the unit of measure is 3 in a box. The unit of measure is per hinge. Any questions on this or any other Stanley product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.